Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We're going to wait a few minutes since I think we just sent out some pings before we get started. Other speakers, can you hear me okay? Just want to do a quick mic check.
Perfectly fine.
Okay, great. We will give it maybe like 1 or 2 more minutes, 1 minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for tuning in. All right, the podium number looks pretty stable, so I think we can get started and hopefully some more people will join us soon. So first, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our first bot developer panel event in the Top GG server, and welcome to all of our amazing panelists, and thank you so much for being part of this event. This is going to be a mix of moderated Q&A similar to previous panels, and we'll also be taking some open questions from the thread in general called Bot Developer Panel Questions. So if you have any questions, please put them there, and we'll be doing that mix. So panelists, please keep your answers between 1 to 2 minutes so that we can be sure to hear from everyone. All right, so first off, introductions. I think most of you in the audience know me, but if you don't, I'm the CEO of TopGG and really excited to be here. I'm going to ask all of our panelists to introduce themselves and share a little bit about themselves, their current roles, previous roles, and backgrounds. And for a fun fact, we would love for you to share your favorite game. So Xavin, I hope I'm saying that right. Please correct me if I'm not. Why don't we have you go first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for inviting me. No worries about pronunciation. My name is Xavin. I'm coming from Germany. I have a background in software engineering for around 10 years, mainly doing bank software with really old languages. Now I'm self-employed with my bot Hydra, and my favorite game is Apex.
Oh, amazing. I played Apex with Veld, but I wasn't very helpful. I mostly just looted. Veld, you are up next.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm Veld. I used to work on TopGG. I still kind of do, but part-time. I work at Uber now as a full stack engineer. It's kind of cool. Other than that, my favorite game, I have to say Final Fantasy 14 because I dunked in like 1,400 hours into that game, and it was totally worth it.
Oh, wow. I know lots of Final Fantasy fans. All right, next, BattleEye, you're up. Oh, wait, I don't think I see you unmuted, BattleEye, but I can't hear you. But it might just be me. Until BattleEye, you get your mic working, why don't we have Iara go? Then we'll come back to you.
Hi, thanks, Kristen. So, I'm Iara. I started working on Mimu like 3-ish years ago, and that's still what I do. Now I'm the community lead of Top GG. That's what my main job is now. But I still really enjoy doing Mimu and have some other side hobbies. My favorite game has to be Tetris because I'm really good at it.
Yes. Iara has even shared, I think she's won some championships before, which is really fun. All right, so for our first question to kick us off, can you tell us about your bot and what inspired you to create it? Xavin, we'll have you go first.
Yeah, sure. So I've started developing Hydra in February 2019, so almost 3 years ago. What inspired me? I think the most inspiring fact was I was in a server with a few friends of mine, and we tried to listen to music, and we were really confused by the bots in use at that time. It was hard to use for us. We didn't really know how to navigate through them, and so I came up with that idea of not having to use a prefix and a command and stuff. So you just dump your song links, song names in a channel, and it will play. And so I thought I'd give it a go, and yeah, now it's grown to over 5 million servers in almost 3 years.
Yeah, super, super inspiring. I think almost every server I'm in, I see the Hydra bot, which is amazing. BattleEye, you're up next. Yeah, BattleEye, you're up next. Wait, hold on. I think I realized I might have even skipped BattleEye's intro.
Yeah.
So wait.
I think
Oh no,
their
I'm sorry,
microphone-
BattleEye.
Wait. I'll check with them.
Okay, no worries. While we work on some technical difficulties behind the scenes, because what remote event would it be without any of those? Veld, could you go next for us?
Yes. It's actually kind of funny. It has a little bit of a backstory, but I used to be in this small gaming group with a bunch of friends, and we used to be on Skype. And I already made a bot for them on Skype, and that's kind of where it started with, because Miki is as old as the Discord bots program. So it became just a thing that came from Skype, and it kind of migrated to Discord.
Yes, we love Mickey Bot. Thanks, Veld. BattleEye, why don't we, for this next one, if you want to just introduce yourself, and then also you could answer the question about what inspired you to create your bot, and tell us a little bit about it. That would be great. Fingers crossed the mic's going to work now.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yes.
It's working. There we go. Hi there. I'm the creator and developer of TicketTool. I'm sorry, one moment.
Oh no, we lost BattleEye again. Iara, do you want to go while we figure out the technical difficulties?
Yeah, for sure. So, my bot is like a crisis hotline bot, which comes with currency for your server. So, basically, the reason why, like, initially when I was creating it, it was because, like, I thought that, like, bringing crisis hotlines per country was, like, the simplest thing. And this was back when I was a really bad developer, and I was like, oh, this should be super simple. And I couldn't find any bots for that. And I really, really care a lot about mental health. And so that was something that I really wanted to bring into Discord. And so that was what inspired me to make it. And then from there, when I decided to work on currency, it was really just because I wanted like a cute bot that was like encompassing cuteness and also bringing a lot of useful features to Discord.
Yes, Mimu is super cute and has really cute art if you haven't checked it out yet. All right, back to you, BattleEye. We'd love to hear your intro and then a little bit about TicketTool and then also what inspired you to create it.
Hi there. So as I was saying, I'm the developer and owner of TicketTool. Before working on Discord bots, I worked as a freelance developer and a CNC router operator for over 6 years. And for the favorite game, it'd be a tie between Dishonored and Prey.
Nice. And yeah, what inspired you to create TicketTool?
Well, the main reason for creating TicketTool was the state of support bots about 3 years ago when I first started working on it. I'd gone into multiple servers needing help, and the bots that were existing either were down or just were very inconvenient to use.
Thanks, BattleEye. All right, next question. So I think this one was asked. I saw some themes of this in the questions we were collecting, but what is the biggest misconception of being a bot developer? Iara, will have you kick us off.
I think the biggest misconception is that Discord pays me. I think like a lot of people assume like a lot of bot developers make a lot of money, but I think passing by the fact that you have to pay fees and trying to balance like that versus like making money through donations is like the biggest misconception. Like people literally ask me, "Oh, how much does Discord pay you?" And I'm like, no, they don't. Like I rely on donations. But that's probably the biggest misconception for me.
Thanks, Iara. Xavin, how about you next? Yeah, what I guess in working on Hydra, or working on Hydra, what is the biggest misconception?
Funnily enough, it's the same for me. Like a lot of people think I'm actually working for Discord and they pay me, which is absolutely not the case. So yeah, it's really expensive to host a big music bot, and I also rely completely on the premium system to keep it up.
That's great. Okay, BattleEye, you're next. I'm curious to see if it's similar or if there are any other ones that you've encountered.
Well, I can't really say that I really know the current perception of bot developers. I guess I don't really hang out in many community settings outside of my own server and really haven't encountered any misconceptions.
Yeah, I wonder, I guess Veld, if you have something to share on that, maybe like what are maybe some common like assumptions about bot developers and then how those may or may not be true. That would be great if you could shed some light on that from your experience at TopGG and also working on Miki.
Yeah, sure thing. So there's one thing that I always think is really funny. People kind of completely forget about like the scale of how large one of these bots actually is. So if something is slow or if something is not as as their preference, if that makes sense, they always think that we can just change it, but then there are like millions of actual users on Discord that rely on this, and it it feels kind of like operating a like an actual an actual cloud infrastructure from your garage, if that makes sense.
No, that does, and I think that resonates with at least just some of the things I've seen in my short time here at TopG. I think a lot of people assume that some people actually think they contact me personally or us asking about the bots. I'm like, no, TopGG doesn't make all these bots. We have our TopGG bot, but actually developers do, and I think a lot of them assume that like there's a giant team behind a lot of these bots, or Discord is making the bots. Those are at least the interesting assumptions I've seen for people who are newer to Discord. All right, so for our next question, as a bot developer, you often wear many hats at the beginning of the project, from product, design, and branding to community building to actually getting your hands dirty with coding. How has your experience been from this? I guess it is connected, right? People think, it's a giant company or team running all of these bots, but it's sometimes just, one or couple person show. So BattleEye, will have you kick us off for this one.
Well, it's been an experience for sure. Before TicketTool, I didn't have any real experience with managing communities and branding. Still don't. I would definitely not have been able to manage it without my amazing group of staff members. They handle pretty much the entire community side for me, and they've been amazing.
That's great. Yeah, definitely feel the same way here at TopGG about our volunteer staff and community as well. How about you, Veld? What are your thoughts on this one?
Oh, so this is something that kind of comes close to my heart because I really enjoy doing almost all of these things, and then I really suck at like managing a community. So I like to do like the design and the product, and then also any infrastructure. So I've over engineered everything, which is kind of a problem now that I want to make changes. But overall, the experience has been kind of, it makes me really happy because I like to do all of these things, and there's not a lot of places where you can do all of these things at the same time with like an active user base.
Yeah, that sounds like really exciting. I think just like being able to kick off a project and wear all these hats and learn sounds like awesome learning experience. Iara, how has this been for you with Mimu?
Yeah, I think I'm super similar to Veld. I really enjoy all of these aspects. I think honestly, I've been really, really lucky to fall into bot development because there's so many different things within it that I really enjoyed. I really like taking care of the community. I really like design, art, branding, product, and I also really like coding. So it's been a really fun project. And I don't think like initially when I was working on it, when I started working on it, I was a minor, and when I was a minor, I didn't really think about all of these aspects that I was doing. And then, I think it's really important though to balance it and make sure that if you don't know one thing or the other, it's really important to bring someone in and ask for their opinion, whether it's like working with an artist or working with someone that's like better at bot development than you are, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Xavin?
For me,
Hydra.
this changes a little bit. Like for me, the most part is the developing part. I like to just dig in and go for coding. So I didn't think about too much about the design and plans for the future, which was a mistake in the beginning. I learned it the hard way. So nowadays I do a lot of planning and design upfront and start coding then. And in terms for the community, I also rely on my beautiful staff team and community manager. And yeah.
No, love it. Yes. I think a lot of similar trends here. It's tough to, manage such a big project as it grows, but it's great that you have the amazing communities to rely on and also volunteer staff as well. So wanted to dive into like kind of one piece of this since all of you are working on so many different facets of the bots. Popular question is, how do you balance monetization to fund the project versus, paywalls on a lot of features, which could cause, potential user frustration? Veld, do you want to kick us off with this one?
Oh, this is going to be a really easy question for me because I have nearly no monetization at all in my bot. I started it for fun. I'm still doing it for fun, so I try to just pay for it myself. Of course,
Thanks, Veld.
any donation is appreciated.
Yes. Thanks, Veld. Xavin, what about you for Hydra? Especially with the high costs, right?
Yeah, as much as I'd love to offer it for free completely, I just can't. I did it for a long time. I paid for it myself until late 2020, so almost 2 years. But yeah, it just costs several thousands a month to just keep it up, and therefore we have to paywall some things. There was an easy rule though, like whatever costs me more money to offer, I paywall. For example, changing the volume globally is costing a lot of resource power and on scale especially. So that's locked behind the paywall.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. BattleEye, how do you approach this for TicketTool?
Well, TicketTool started as a passion project for just wanting to make a better support bot. As we've moved along, server costs have increased and focus has been split away, so we added monetization. And I wanted to pretty much only monetize systems that would be used in a more advanced setting and keep all of the base features for anybody wanting a support bot open and available to use. It's a very difficult balance to maintain, and we're even relooking into them soon about removing a number of paywalled items.
No, makes a lot of sense. And then how do you handle this for a Mimu, Iara?
So usually I ask myself one specific question, and it's like, do I need to use this or is it extra? So for example, an example of this would be like a lot of stuff like formatting and how it actually looks is what I would monetize versus like functionality I wouldn't monetize. So like how this looks, whether you can change the picture of this, etc. Like stuff like that is what I monetize, and this works for me like pretty well because of the fact that Mimu is marketed towards people who care about aesthetic a lot, and so people would pay for that instead. But it's not something that I would feel bad for monetizing because I really, I think I basically funded it for most of Mimu's like lifetime for around 2 years out of 3. It was like funded and there was no like donation pages at all. But then at some point I was like, okay, it's like $300-400 a month. I need some help. So that was when I started doing monetization, and I tried to make it as minimal as possible.
Yeah, honestly, just listening to this, I think a lot of startups could take some tips from all of you and how you've approached this for your different projects. It sounds like really, really thoughtful and based on scale. So another question that has to do with kind of growth and scaling. It sounds like a lot of your different projects, right, started out at these passion projects and small, but as your bots have grown, how has it been scaling these up, and how has this affected the tech stack throughout the time you've developed your project? Xavin, we'll have you start us off with this one. Since
Sure.
Hydra now, I think it's top 5 bot.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I didn't really plan too much in the beginning, so I just went there and did a small JS bot in JavaScript with Discord JS, and thought it's gonna be fine. There's like a few servers using it, and so that went completely downhill, and it didn't work at all really good. And over the time, Hydra transformed into a lot of microservices working together in different languages, Java, Kotlin, Rust, running. In terms of hosting, we in the beginning it was a small VPS running in Screen, and nowadays it's a self-maintained bare metal Kubernetes cluster on in New York. And yeah, we're using a lot of cloud computing, external clusters for databases, and a lot of monitoring, InfluxDB, Prometheus, BigQuery, etc. So yeah, it's grown
Thank
quite.
you. Yeah, a lot. Iara, how have you handled this for Mimu, which is top 40 bot now?
Yeah, so I was the same as Xavin. I didn't really think that Mimu would grow really large. So when I initially did it, I think it was worse than how Xavin did it. I actually used like an SQLite database. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's basically a file-based database, and it's like in this file within the same process of yeah, it was just not good. But that was a very long time ago, and obviously I swapped to something that made a lot more sense, and then and then I've been like doing the same thing, basically splitting them into microservices, so specific processes does different things, making different APIs and endpoints to make sure that communication is still really quick and stuff. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. In terms of tech stack, it hasn't really changed a ton. I've tried basically like every database. I've done a lot of database migrations. So yeah.
Thanks, Iara. Veld, how about for Miki?
Oh boy. So at the start, I had the unique challenge of there is no tooling available because there were no previous bots. So we started completely from scratch. Initially, we wrote our own like libraries and kind of grew that into this massive repository of libraries. We have 52 different projects now, and we're slowly moving to basically the same thing that Xavin is doing, which is microservices all connected to each other in a Kubernetes cluster. We're halfway there, but my main focus right now is the developer experience rather than the overall infrastructure, so that we can keep moving fast.
Cool. Thanks, Veld. BattleEye, how has this experience been with TicketTool? It's grown.
Well, I started with TicketTool hoping to be able to expand and scale as needing without any idea how to actually accomplish that. So I did the research, very poor implementations, and over the years have added to it multiple servers. At the time, my idea of scaling was up to 20,000 servers. Nothing beyond that. Beyond that was a pipe dream. but the amount of times I've had to rewrite my bot is staggering. I'm currently in the middle of a full rewrite.
Wow. How many times have you had, if you had to guess, how many times have you had to rewrite it?
Well, I'll publish rewrites, like 5. Rewrites that have been scratched, like 25. But TicketTool has been a learning project for me, and
Yeah.
that's what it was started as, and it's what it's likely going to continue as. My stack really hasn't changed much, as I kind of did a decent research in the beginning as to what I wanted to use for scaling. But like I said, with a very poor implementation.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think me and probably a lot of other folks on this call are just learning about like all the work it takes behind the scenes, not just to build the bot, but to also keep up with the demands as the bot grows and scales and gets used by more and more people. So, follow-up question on growth. As your bots have grown, have you felt the need to take on extra help by either recruiting more developers or, server moderators to your team? I know a lot of you have mentioned, your different volunteer staff or contributors or community. And if so, as you did this, what kind of challenges did this present and what did you look for during the staff recruitment process? Battle, I will have you start us off with this one for TicketTool.
I've thought about adding on more developers over the years. I haven't ever actually gotten to it. I've always seen TicketTool, as I mentioned, as a learning experience that forces me to learn better ways and the proper ways of scaling. So I wanted to be able to just do it all myself. We recruit a lot of support staff. We have a very selective staff on the recruitment process there. But as for developers, I am the sole developer, and I've thought about adding on more developers, but every time I go to do it, it's just like, I want to learn how to do this myself. At the moment, I'm able to do that.
Cool. Xavin, how about how have you approached this at Hydra? Like, what challenges did you face?
Yeah, so I started this all alone, and after around a year, I also realized, okay, I want a website, and I never did that. So I learned a little bit of React and Vue and tried it in both frameworks. And I was horrible at it. I just can't design it. It was really bad. And so luckily, I met Oscar Risto on Discord, and he joined the team and revamped that completely and made a beautiful website. I'm really proud of it nowadays, and yeah, he's a big help. So definitely taking help. It's not a bad thing, and if you can't do something really well, then yeah, use that. For community things, I just look for active members, which I experienced with Hydra. And yeah, nowadays that task is also outsourced to the community manager, Ravi. Yeah.
Thanks. Iara, how is this? I guess, well, yeah, what is your approach and experience been for this at Mimu?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit like BattleEye. I don't like asking questions when it comes to development, which is a really bad habit. But I think that's like the general case for everything. I don't really like asking questions. I like figuring things out myself so that I don't sound dumb, which is a really bad habit, to be honest. You should always ask questions. But I did hire a developer that worked for around a couple months recently, and I think they're leaving Mimu soon, just because like I kind of prefer knowing what's going on, especially due to the fact that it's a huge passion project. I just like knowing how every single small detail works to like, oh, in line 123, like this is where this happens, so and that's the type of thing you can never do without like micromanaging the person. So that's how it's been in terms of development. But in terms of moderators or support staff, I'm really proud of our support team. We have like pretty much 99% positive feedback in terms of support in the past like year or so. And I think this is just because we are really selective. We're really careful of like how how we provide answers and how we train our support staff in order to guide each user and make sure we are super empathetic, we're just super kind, and make sure that we're super approachable. So that's the support is super important to us and is a huge priority. Yeah.
Thanks. That's super inspiring, and we're lucky to have you working on that as well at TopGG. Veld, how have you approached this for Miki?
So, in regards of hiring, I mostly tried to get people on board who were already a bot developer, but some sort of smaller bot, or B were very excited about Miki specifically. So far, this has worked pretty well. We're a team of 2, which I feel like seems pretty good for a bot.
Small but mighty team of 2.
Yes. So we just work together. We have a very small sprint planning that isn't really cut up in sprints, and we just get to things whenever we do. Most of the donations that we get go to him because it's my passion project and he's doing it for some money, so that makes sense. But in terms of volunteer staff, we mostly just reach out to people who are very active and are already doing the responsibilities in our Discord server. So we see people consistently answering questions. Support, we ask them, "Hey, do you want to become a support member on our team?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what I've been doing anyway." "Yeah, but now you have the title." So there's not a really harsh criteria to get it, as long as they seem motivated to do it.
Cool. No, that's great. It's I think for a lot of things, right, if people are genuinely motivated and passionate, that's a great way to get your foot in the door. So this next question is something I personally get asked a lot, or I feel a lot of people just ask me this that are learning about Discord bots or curious about making their own or just getting started. So the question is, how do you measure success, and do you consider your bot successful? What do you think is the secret ingredient to your bot's growth? Iara, we'll go to you first for your perspective from Mimu.
This is such a hard question because I think measuring success really depends on your values. And for me, in terms of my values, I think that the first time I felt, oh, Mimu is successful was back when it was around 2,000 servers. And one person basically told me that because of Mimu's crisis resources, they were able to help someone and basically save them from a crisis situation. And that was when I was like, I have done all I've reached my ultimate goal here, and I was like, even if it's just one person, that's how I would feel successful, if that makes sense.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so that was the first time I felt successful, if that makes sense. But when it comes to success in a general scale or size, I do feel Mimu is successful right now, and I do think that the secret ingredient is just the way I branded Mimu. It's super consistent across all platforms. We use the same icons, we use the same artists, we have a very consistent art style, and it really shows across the entire bot. And from command responses to the site itself to specific rewards or events, it all comes in together. And art is something that I enjoy a lot, and so I do think Mimu is this is the part that Mimu shines in the most.
Thanks. It is super cute. I love the art style. BattleEye. What about I guess would love to hear your perspective on this question for TicketTool.
So I'd pretty much considered TicketTool successfully when I surpassed my original goal of 20,000 servers, and that was what the previous support bot that existed had for its max users. And when I matched theirs and then started to surpass them, I was pretty happy with the bot. It had managed to surpass and keep growing, and it was great. Project that I could work on and have fun doing it.
That's amazing. And yeah, I feel like that feeling right if you're working on a passion project and it just grows and explodes, that's really, really incredible. Xavin, how have you approached this for, I guess, Hydra? How has that changed at all over time?
So I think the key of success for me is happy users. Like if you have positive feedback and a lot of general happy communities telling you they had a really nice evening thanks to the bot and keeping them entertained is a nice way to do so. Surely has changed a little bit with like I have to back that off with numbers to sometimes, for example, measuring retention and activity within the bot. And if it's hard to grasp nowadays, like how big it went. Like I have to tell myself that it's actually under the top 10 bots on Discord in terms of build count. And yeah, it's really amazing and keeps growing fast pace.
Cool. Thank you. And Veld, what's your perspective on this for Miki?
Ooh, okay. So actually, since I have worked on Top G, my perspective changed a lot. So I mostly wanted to talk about that. I look a lot at data, and Miki keeps track of a lot of data for me to look at. So, for example, something that I think is my main thing to look at is how many like interactions did Miki execute in the last day, and yeah, I think a lot of bot developers initially start thinking when they think about measuring for success, they think about how many guilds is your bot in, if that makes sense. But I feel like over time, a lot of these servers don't really count anymore. So I'd much rather look at how much total people are looking at the or using the bot themselves. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, thanks, Veld. So I'm gonna ask each panelist one specific question, and then we'll move on to the open Q&A. So first question is for you, BattleEye. One of the things TicketTool brings is revolutionizing the way ticketing bots bring to the table in terms of user experience in the interface. What do you think allowed TicketTool to succeed so well in this area?
That would be ease of use and stability. At the time when creating TicketTool, the other bots had major stability issues as they had outgrown their infrastructure and the people working on them got busy. Reactions to create tickets was something that wasn't widely used at the time. It was a new thing that bots were starting to use, but hadn't quite fully adapted yet on a general use. I wanted to be able to open tickets
I
from my.
interrupted you.
That's okay. I wanted to be able to open the support request without having to run commands. It's just I wanted an easy way to ask for help.
Thanks, BattleEye. With my product management hat on, I think, right, like anytime, like it sounds like you just solved like such a core, user need for people that it makes sense that the growth was really, really explosive and just really helped them and made things a lot easier for them. Xavin, the question for you is one of the things that took users by surprise was when YouTube began cutting down on Discord bot streaming music last year. How has this, I guess, affected Hydra or your roadmap?
So yeah, I think it was to be expected to happen one day that they come after big bots. It was a big surprise that it happened that fast though at the time, and it completely changed the roadmap. Like at that time, we were working at a web player and easier way to interact with it. That we threw that completely away and decided to look for new ways to have the project future proof again. And so like we started off with that song request channel and made use of a lot of reactions, so you can easier interact with the bot. And so we thought the first new feature could be something like reaction roles. We checked the current market and everything, and we found a lot of things you could improve with the current things. And so we started planning that and have it done by now. It's in early release currently for premium members and soon to be shown to the public.
Oh, super exciting. Can't wait till it comes out to the public. So Iara earlier mentioned, I think when we were asking about the, kind of secret ingredient behind your bot's growth, you mentioned branding. And so Mimu is known for its strong and very cute branding. I know some pictures have been shared in general. And creating a brand around your Discord bot is really a tough task to accomplish for many developers who are starting out and who don't necessarily have experience in graphic design or branding. What advice would you give to someone who's starting out and wants to build both a strong brand and community?
Yeah, for sure. So I think for me it was super easy because I already really gravitate towards that kind of art style and really round objects and just really cute smiles and happy and cute stuff like that. So for me that was my style, And I think where like there's usually like someone similar to you in this world. And by that, I mean, try to find what suits you. For me, it's this cute branding, but it doesn't have to be this. It could be a lot more professional or a bit more edgy or a bit, like there's like different styles for each type of group, and try to market it towards like a group that you would want your audience to be. And for me, it would be marketing it toward a group that really care about aesthetics and just really nice people and stuff like that. And this can vary for different people. And from there, I think just exploring. I think Pinterest has a lot of good things. I know Kristen used to work at Pinterest,
Yes.
but I think Pinterest has a really good algorithm of like linking different images together. So if you if you find a specific thing on Pinterest, you can like find different things that are similar to that. And I think that would really help with like mood boards and ideas and stuff, and just aggregating them and stuff. And so I would suggest doing that, and also working with different artists to kind of create your own brand that is like unique to you.
Yeah, and I'll add, as someone who did work at Pinterest, like I think it's really great for mood boards, or if you find kind of one kind of image or style you like, you can use it, like you can kind of put in Pinterest and find really similar things too. And I think Veld also a while ago showed me, or we've like looked at Dribble or like Behance together to get inspiration too. So definitely check out Pinterest and those other two. Thanks, Iara. And Veld, for you, since you start out developing Miki, how has the Discord bot development landscape changed in the past years, and how have these changes affected your bot? I do think you'll also have a really unique perspective on this from your work at TopGG as well.
Yeah, this is so over like the years, a lot has changed because in the beginning I feel like most of us were just teenagers filling up time making fun bots, and everything was like done through word of mouth, if that makes sense. So your bot grew basically purely from people liking your bot and sharing it with other people. Then with bot lists coming up and having multiple like tags, um, you really saw a big potential in being a single purpose bot. And I feel like that's what really grew onto the community, where a bot mostly is like one focus, and that's just something they're really good at. Um, I'm still a very old multi-purpose bot, and you can see all of the people here with me. They all have like one thing they're really good at, and they all outgrew me, even though I've been here the longest. But that aside, yeah, we did have to like focus our own priorities over those years as well. For example, we started as a multi-purpose bot, and now we're completely focused on something like leveling.
Cool. Thanks, Veld. All right, now we're going to move on to all of the different questions from the bot developer panel questions thread. Huge shout out to our amazing CM Mac, who's been helping kind of curate and collect these for us for the panel. So first question is actually from one of our mods, family friendly. What are your views on open source? And for these, anyone can kind of feel free to jump in, and not everyone has to answer too.
Oh, I can start with this. So I haven't worked on a lot of open source stuff. I've probably had one or two things that that is open source. I personally don't have Mimu open source because Mimu's code base is sort of a mess and uses multiple microservices. But I think open source is great. It's how we build on other developers' work, and it's honestly super helpful. And I rely on open source day to day. And every project that you've ever used has probably used some sort of open source thing as well. So I think it's really great. It allows developers to really grow on each other and also learn from each other. So yeah.
Thanks. Anyone else want to chime in? Veld.
Yes. So Miki was open source for 4 to 5 years, and the only reason why we stopped being open source is to keep our own developer experience good. As I mentioned before, that's something we're really focusing on right now. And having a bunch of separate repos that all have their own release schedules for libraries was really hard to really iterate fast upon. So we just put it all together and went with it as we would normally. We are planning to open source things in the future again, but we really want to make sure that we can prioritize Miki over the open source, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Anyone else want to chime in on this question? Otherwise, I can move to the next one. All right, our next question is from big.bun and Phoenix. And I know these were covered a little bit earlier, but if anyone wants to add more details, that would be great. So big.bun is really curious about the very first steps you took to grow your bot. And then Phoenix is curious about how long it took for your bot to start gaining traction and becoming popular.
I may start here, if it's okay. So after release, the bot got a lot of traction from TopGG, actually, from the trending page, when people vote for it, and it was trending on there. And I think it was around 1,000 servers, in a few days. So I was really confident at the product, and at that time, the auction system got announced from TopGG. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Actually grew the bot through that to around 50,000 servers in the first few months. And from there on, it started to gain traction on its own. I know.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for the TopGG and auction shout out. That's such a cool story. Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on this? Veld or BattleEye? Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Well, when I started, I only posted it on TopGG and had voted on it consistently, had various people voting on it consistently, and just let it go from there. Took about a year to reach. Oh, I actually have no idea where it reached in a year. About a year, it was doing pretty decent. I don't know the numbers, but it's pretty much all word of mouth, general use, and only TopGG for a year and a half. I've since branched to other platforms, but I really don't do any other type of advertisement other than that.
Oh, that's really cool. And I love that it was just, straight up through, TopGG voting and having people support you that way. That's really, really cool. Veld, did you want to go next for this one?
Yeah. This is really interesting because I had 2 really great opportunities for growth, and I feel like that's basically where my success came from. The first one is that at the beginning, we were a very focused bot towards this one feature, which was the experience and leveling system. And people really liked it. And a lot of people wanted the bot on their server, and it all went through word of mouth. And then because old bot equals large amount of users when TopG came out, we were like on the first page for a good year, I think. So that's been like my main growth loop. Well, ever since, not so much anymore because we're not really doing that much with voting. But yeah, that was the biggest thing.
Cool. Thanks, Veld.
Can I wrap this
Yeah,
up?
of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, my bot was like at around 100 servers or so for like the first year, and then this was when I like joined TopGG as a mod, and I was like, okay, let me get into bot development again instead of like just sitting there stale. And I think just being part of the community really inspired me, which is completely irrelevant. But so that was when I started getting it back into it, and then I was like, okay, let me add like a voting implementation of TopGG. And that's when my bot blew up. Like I'm seeing like in that year it grew like thousands and thousands of servers. Like it went from 100 servers to like thousands and thousands. And I was like, holy crap, you know? And ever since I just added like a voting integration so that it would give you a reward in so if you would vote on Mimu, vote on Top GG for Mimu, you would get a Mimu reward. And so that was what I did. And it's still what I do today. And Mimu still gets a lot of votes. And that's, yeah, it's a really weird story, but it's also like the voting system is kind of how my bot like kind of blew up because it was shown on Top GG. Yeah.
Oh, no, I love all these stories. They're so heartwarming. Thank you all for listing your bots on TopGG. It really means a lot. All right, so next question is from Aurel, one of our moderators. What were the most difficult obstacles along the way, and how did you resolve?
I think I speak for everyone here. It's the rewrites.
All right, yeah, I know BattleEye. Wow, all of the rewrites you shared. That sounds like a lot of work. All right, we can. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think rewrites are difficult. I think the most difficult thing was when Discord decided to actually like give attention to bots again. Like I think it was like last year of October or something. Or was it? Wait, no, it was last year in October. And they were like, okay, we're gonna start intense. And I was like, okay. And then I think in April they were like, okay, we're gonna do slash commands. Like they just keep adding these new things that need like full rewrites. And I mean, I appreciate them giving me a heads up though, but I think that's like a huge thing. Like it was like kind of stale and didn't really require a Discord rewrite before, but then Discord was like, okay, we need to do these updates. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, next question is from big.bun. So when it comes to implementing new features, what does that process look like? Anyone want to go first?
For us,
David, thank you.
yeah. For us, it's usually like you have an idea, you note that down, and then we talk about it, plan it out, have a look at the market, what's out there already, how to improve things, and then actually write it down what you need to do, and maybe even have like a logical structure around, and then up to the point where you can start implementing it, which is then the smallest part nowadays.
Thanks, Xavin. Okay, I'll move to the next one. So this one's from Alec. Was there ever a stage where you wanted to quit your project, and if so, what was the reason? And I guess I'm curious if this had happened to you, like what kind of motivated you to keep going?
I have wanted to quit multiple times purely because of stress, especially a little bit of Miki lore for everyone. We were completely down for a month back in November 2018, I think, because everything just completely collapsed, and we couldn't really like deal with the growth anymore. This is also, I think, why Miki isn't a million bot right now, which is kind of sad, but it happened and I have to deal with it. But I think that 1 month, whew, that was stressful.
I can second for that month. Well, not that month. For the stress, I've seriously considered quitting many times over the stress. Trying not to have problems with your community because I want to have it up and running. That's the main thing I wanted it for, is stability. But when I can't keep that up, it is so stressful. It's a lot to keep things working.
I think I can also speak for the others. I've also wanted to quit a couple of times. Sometimes it was out of stress, but it was never I never really wanted to quit due to how stressful it was. I think I really thrive in stress, which is sort of stupid, but I think that's when I am the most productive and stuff. But I think what did make me want to quit was when community, like either your support staff or saying bad things about you, or when it, and obviously you could bat it away as oh, they're probably just not happy with this or that, or they're just being unreasonable. But I think I really try to look into this. It's kind of a flaw of mine, but also a strength, in the sense that I do try to understand people in a very deep level. I try to ask, oh, why do they do that? And so I look into it really deeply, and I'm and it ends up hurting me a lot. And so I think a lot of the time the community was just saying something negative, or I just heard things that just came around in a gossipy way, and it just kind of really upset me. And I was like, why am I doing this? This is just bringing me stress. There's no point for me to do it. But it wasn't an infrastructure or a code thing. It was more of a emotional thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. I guess it's hard sometimes, you see the bot doing so well, but you don't necessarily know all the kind of roller coaster, all the ups and downs and the behind the scenes that it took to get there. The next question is sort of, I guess, a nice follow-up to the previous question. This one comes from Bubbly. Bubbly's wondering, where do you get your inspiration, I guess, to keep going or keep building and creating?
I think for me, it's usually the community giving me new ideas and nice thoughts, and then you can work on them and base it off them.
Yeah, I completely agree. The people who use it, they make me so happy by just telling me that they enjoyed something that's new or something that they didn't know yet. For example, we have an achievement, and there's a 1 in 10 million chance that you can get it. So sometimes someone pops up and is like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god," and it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I think to add on this, I am super, super happy whenever people leave really kind feedback, or when they pop into my DMs and they're like, I love Mimu, it's the best bot ever, and that's super sweet. But I think a huge part of why I even started working on Mimu again was the Top GG community. People are always talking about bot development, and there's a lot of really great ideas, and talking to people who are really adjacent to bot development or also working on it just really got me back into it.
I have about the same experience there. It's just amazing. I like the feedback from the people who just enjoy it. Just the small thank yous. They go a really long ways.
Thank you all. That was super inspiring for me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the community listening around. I guess this next question is also related to some of the topics that came up around community. So this one's from Family Friendly, one of our moderators. How do you foster and retain a helpful community around your bot? I imagine this is also what a lot of bot developers who are just getting started out are really curious about.
I think for me, this is sort of, I was kind of blessed with a community that was really positive since the beginning. Everyone in my community is really, really positive. An example would be Mimu would go down, and I remember Zatara was talking about this as well. But one time Mimu went down because of a Cloudflare ban, And people were like, oh, Mimu, she's sleeping. Please rest, Iara. Please go drink water. Like, it's okay if Mimu is down for a day. We'll survive, you know? Like, it was like the sweetest thing. And this isn't just like a one-off thing. This is something that happens like within my community. I was kind of blessed with a community that was super positive. So I haven't had to do like drastic changes. Like, we've always been really tight on moderation and stuff, but we've never had any like really bad people or anything. So
Oh, thank you, Iara. Yeah, I know I'm not a bot developer, but I can say I'm having like a really amazing community, and I guess I'm talking about all of you who are tuning in and our volunteer staff as well. Is like just really, really inspiring. All right, next question. So this is a specific question for BattleEye from Siri. So when it comes to the Discord message content intent, do you plan on keeping message-based commands or switching entirely to slash commands or keeping both?
This is actually something we've been discussing internally amongst our staff. I've asked some of my community. I like will have negative reviews on them in their current state. We will likely eventually switch to slash commands, as that is the future of bots, but I will probably hold off doing so until the last possible moment, just due to their current state.
Makes sense. And then I guess this is a follow-up question from Innovator for everyone. What are your views on message content intent?
I personally think it's a good choice of Discord. Like, there's a lot of bots having access to such large data sets of messages where they don't even need it. So it makes sense in terms of user privacy to just not grant that if you don't really need it.
I sort of agree with
I'm
that.
a little.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you're good.
Oh, okay, I'll go first. I kind of agree with that. Like, I do think it's super good that like Discord is trying to protect their users and put data privacy first. But it doesn't change the fact that it is really annoying to have to rewrite everything. But even with that said, I do think it is like a good direction for the future.
I was going to say I'm a little mixed on the message intents. I don't actually see the need for it personally. Bots can still only see the messages from channels you give them permission to view, same as a user. And most of these large bots have been granted the intent anyways for other reasons. And so the larger reaching bots already get the messages, and the smaller ones just don't because they're smaller. And that's not as a big deal anyways. I myself, we got approved for the message intent for TicketTool, so that's how we plan on using commands for a while. But I still don't quite see a actual reason for it in the end.
Thanks, everyone. So this next question is from conqr, and actually, maybe I'll answer it again, but this was a question that came up during, I think, both of the TopGG AMAs last quarter. But the question is, how do you feel about Discord adding their own in-app bot discovery?
I feel so bad for going first.
No, I can also go if you want. No, I can also go. No, go ahead. No, don't
I feel like
bad.
for this, I personally don't think it's like a huge deal for Mimu. Like, I think it's great that they're doing it for Mimu, but like in terms of like me as a Mimu bot developer, I don't think it really changes a lot for me. But like, considering the fact that like you don't really get that much from server discovery, I can't really imagine a lot from app discovery. However, I do think it affects TopGG, since TopGG is like a listening platform, and I work at TopGG. so I'm super curious on how that would affect TopGG. But I'm really excited for TopGG to expand outside of Discord and not only about Discord, even while still improving like the experience for Discord users.
And I can give a little follow-up on that. I won't repeat everything I said in the previous MAs, but yeah, exactly as Iara said, right? It already server discovery already exists. However, we are keeping an eye on it, and I do chat with the Discord team quite a bit. I think the good thing is that they see how important TopGG is, and kind of what we're focusing on are really almost like different use cases for bot search and discovery. Like a lot of their intent as they're working on it is they're trying to get someone to use their first bot ever. Whereas TopGG, like we might capture some of those people, but a lot of people coming have a bit of knowledge for Discord bots and servers. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. We also have a lot of really exciting new features planned. I know we didn't officially announce this event yet, but we will soon. We'll have a product roadmap sneak peek, I think in the next couple weeks. So we'll show you how we're not only going to add more features around Discord bot discovery and Discord server discovery, but we're also going to expand to some other new places as well. I think I mentioned Web3 DAO discovery, and then we're also going to take a look at Roblox and a lot of other places in the future. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents from the TopGG side. Any of the other panelists want to comment on this one?
Yeah,
Veld.
happy to comment. I think they were going to do it someday. Like it's not something that they wouldn't do, considering how successful botless and serverless in general have been. I think it is going to it's going to be a big thing for mobile users, but I think most people have Discord always open in the background, and then they just use the internet for anything else anyway. So I don't foresee any like web users actively like being really excited about it. If that makes sense. As a bot developer, I don't really mind it. It's another place for me to put my bot and hopefully get recommended.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good thing. Like, right, overall, like we care a lot about bot growth and server growth, and so the more places, the better. All right, next question is from big.bun. What was your sanity like before developing a bot, and what is it like now? I guess sanity could also be mental health or just health.
I'm happy to answer this one. Oh, if you want to go first, Xavin, feel free.
Go for it. Oh, good.
Okay, thank you. I think it's been like one of those charts that starts low, peaks, and then goes low again. It's kind of like that. Like in the middle, that's when I was most like my mental health was worst. But then I just kind of took a step back, and at the end of the day, things just keep going, even if it doesn't go as well as it did before. So there we go.
Yeah, I have similar feelings like Veld there. It's more like a roller coaster where you just go up and down in times. And it gets better over time though. And when you're at a point when like everything is working and you're happy, and yeah. So there's always light in the end.
It's probably improved since starting programming and Discord bots, just by having large group of friends be able to talk with on the servers. Because without a Discord bot, I probably wouldn't really be on Discord much. I've met a lot of cool people that have been that are close friends now.
That's great to hear. All right, next question is from Null. Is your Discord bot your primary source of income?
For me, it is currently, since I'm self-employed since half a year with Hydra. It's not the only income, but it's the primary one. Like Hydra also gave me the opportunity to work for other big companies as a contractor. But yeah, it's the main.
That's great. I love that it opened up like a lot of other opportunities for you.
For me, it was for a little bit. Well, it was for like a long time because like I didn't like I was still living with my parents at the time. But then I moved out in August, and then that was when it was like sort of my full-time job. And then I decided that I didn't want to to like have it as like a full-time job at some point. I was like, I want to hire other people. I want to scale. I want to use the money for other things. And so that's when I fell into the job at TopGG. So now it's no longer my primary source of income, but it does sometimes give me income, I suppose. I still need to talk to my financial accountant person to kind of sort that out a bit more.
For me, TicketTool is my primary source of income. And if I wasn't working on TicketTool full time, I would be working a 9 to 5 at some tech firm.
Hey, that's what I'm doing. It's never been my my only income or primary source of income, if that makes sense. However, it did help me through college because I started Miki during college, and the amount of pizzas it has paid for is indescribable.
Cool. Thank you all for sharing. The next question we have is from Pog, who is one of our bot reviewers. Pog's wondering, have you ever thought about selling your bot or business and moving on to the next big project?
If you want, I can answer this one.
Sure.
I have received a few offers in the past for me to sell my bot. However, I never really did it. So I don't think I ever wanted to sell it, and I'm not planning to now. But yeah, that's about it.
It's the same for me. I also
I thought
got
a few.
several offers. Oh, sorry. You go first. Oh, good.
No, you're good.
All right.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also got several offers from different companies, and it's actually like, but when you hear the sums they're offering for something you created, it's incredible. But on the same time, I put really a lot of time and heart into this project together with other persons as well. So yeah, I never went on actually doing it.
Out of everyone here, I'm probably the only person who's never gotten an offer like this. Possibly because even if I did, like, I don't think their first message would be like, "Hey, like, I am offering you this much," and usually I don't really respond to like messages unless it's like straight up that thing, if that makes sense. And so a lot of the time I don't respond to a lot of my DMs, so that's probably why. But I remember when I started Mimu, I was like, oh, if I ever want to sell Mimu, that's when something is seriously wrong. Maybe like my passion is like gone and stuff, and I saw that as a red flag. I think last week or so I was like thinking if someone offered me like a decent sum, I would probably sell it because of just demotivation and stuff like that. And then, but I think my motivation is back up, and yeah, I did think of it, but probably wouldn't have actually done it.
Thanks, Iara. BattleEye, how about you next? Oh, wait, sorry, BattleEye, did you hear? Yeah, sorry, BattleEye, do you want to answer next?
I was just going to say, I've had a number of offers over the years that I've seriously considered. Generally, they have been for a valuation that just isn't worth giving up my project. It's been something I've enjoyed working on for a very long time, and the amount required to take that away from me is more than most people are willing to pay.
Thanks, all. Okay, next question from Big Bun. I know we gave kind of brief intros in the beginning, but Big Bun wants to know what's your background and what did you do before developing Discord bots? or discovering Discord too?
I had a 9 to 5 job at a company which sells bank software. And I was mainly working with functional programming languages like COBOL, like a really old one. So, but yeah, and it was also interesting way to change your coding style in more up-to-date languages and object-oriented languages. So
For me, I feel like mine is probably similar to Veld's. I was a high school student when I started Mimu, so I was studying and trying to get into med school at the time. So nothing too interesting. Now I'm doing university.
I hadn't done anything amazing. I was a CNC router operator for about 6 years prior. And then around the last year of working as an operator, I had gotten TicketTool to where it could replace my job.
Yeah, I was studying. Not that much else.
You should. What, Veld, share what you're studying. I mean, I know, but
Oh my god, yeah, sure. I was studying game development, but apparently, I wish someone told me, but apparently it really sucks to work as a game developer. And you have to work really long hours and you get paid not that much. And oh my god, I didn't want to do that. So I went into software engineering instead.
Thanks, Veld. Okay, next question is from Siri. I guess it has to do a little bit with background, but when you were starting out, what coding experience did you have? And also, Siri's curious if you received any kind of hate, and if so, what helped keep you going through those experiences?
For previous experience, no formal training. It's all been self-learned, general miscellaneous projects over the years. Prior to TicketTool, the main project I had worked on was a script to scrape Steam backpacks and find Team Fortress 2 items. I was scraping millions of backpacks an hour. It's just a miscellaneous project to try and find rare items I could acquire. As for the hate, I haven't really experienced that. Or it's just nothing's been severe enough to bother me.
Thanks, BattleEye. Let's see. Next question is from Hyper. What feature took the longest to make? And I guess just some curiosity about like other challenges you might had to overcome and how did you manage them?
Can I answer this first? Not per se.
Yeah, of course.
Not per se a feature, but the thing that I spend the most time on is scaling. Like just trying to code things like your cluster system and making sure it's like scales horizontally, etc. It's just like the most probably frustrating thing, and also something that you can't test without doing it in production. I mean, like obviously for some things you can, but stuff like big bot sharding, you can't really test it other than the actual production like tokens. So like that's probably the most like nightmarish thing to make. Other than that, if it had to be a feature, then it would probably be anything that's like timed or regular. For example, like hourly messages, because like obviously you can like shift around the times and stuff for it to fire. But like if you want to like test like the exact situation, you might have to wait an hour for it to do, or a day to do, or a week to do, and that's probably the most annoying thing. And I imagine that's probably also the case for other people as well. I know it was sort of a pain point for stuff like auctions in Top GG. So
anyone else want to share about a long feature? If not, we have a fun question from Igor. What is your favorite programming language? And then also DJ Cool is asking, are you using Discord.js or the largest library for your language or a self-written library?
I'm happy to answer this. My favorite language is the language we wrote for Miki. This sounds really, really over-engineered, I know, but yes, we wrote a scripting language for Miki, which people can make their own extension to the bot. You can basically do about anything you can do with like the normal API. So cool. I'm so proud of it.
Ooh, thanks, Veld.
For me, the most fun language to code in is probably Kotlin. I really learned to love it. In terms of if I'm using Discord.js or what language, what library, I did in the beginning, and currently it's using a custom version of JDA. We did some changes to it to make it more fitting for our scale. But other than that, we may plan to have something self-written in the future if there's time.
For me, my favorite language is Java. I actually have never made like a big project out of it, but I really enjoy Java. I think I really like object-oriented programming, and I really like how Java does a lot of things. I learned a lot of things from Java. But Mimu is written in JavaScript and TypeScript. I'm currently using Discord.js that is modded for Mimu.
Thanks all. Let me see. So I know we have like 9 minutes left, and there's a couple more questions. I'm just kind of scanning and yeah, let's see. So as you've grown a business reliant on Discord, have you ever considered the need to branch out to other platforms? So all your eggs aren't in one basket?
Considered it? Yes. Where and how? That's the difficult part. It's always in the back of my mind, but how and where is always the question.
It's something we actually put a lot of time into, especially I think 2 years ago. I think that leveling in general can have some really interesting business level improvements for people as like professionals as well. So what I wanted to do was to introduce it into Slack, and we had a functional layer for like abstraction, so we can have the exact same code base running. However, it ended up being a lot of work for very little hands, if that makes sense, because there's so many integrations for Slack. So it's something that we kind of have in the back burner.
Thanks. Let's see. So another question from Flair. What do you think of the current state of Discord as a whole? Is it in security, management, support, etc.? Any thoughts?
I think they've been spending a lot of effort in trying to connect with larger bot developers. It used to be a lot more difficult to reach out to them. So I do appreciate them investing in that a lot. In terms of, I'm not sure what security means, but I know a lot of people mention that 2FA doesn't doesn't actually help when the token is leaked or something. So that's not good. Hopefully they'll do something about it. Support can be, I think a lot of people, I think it's a little bit of a running meme to not reach out to support, and instead of just DM Mason whenever you have an issue with like your bot, which is not a good meme. Hopefully something like they'll do something about it. But I do really like Discord, and I have seen them grow a lot in the past like couple of years, and I'm really excited for them to continue to grow.
Thanks, Iara. So our next question is from Finky, and I'm going to rephrase this a little bit. I know this was specifically addressed at Iara, but I think everyone on this panel probably has some great knowledge to share on this. So I think we have a lot of bot developers, not just in the Top GG community, but also out there who are, getting ready to work on their very first bot, thinking about building one, or just like getting started, and it's super hard. So I guess if you were starting out today, how would you start out if you felt like there was a ton of competition in your category? And also, like, I guess, how do you are there any words of encouragement you would extend, or some tips for bot developers who are just getting started out facing some challenges?
Yeah, I'll start off with this. So for me, obviously my bot is economy and crisis. So I think if this already existed, like let's say Mimu already existed and I wanted to create a Discord bot, I would probably not create the same thing. I think a huge part of why Mimu is successful is because I made something that I needed at the time. And so if it wasn't something I needed, it probably wouldn't be a passion project. I would probably work on a self-care bot. That's been such a huge idea for me. I wanted to work on a bot that does self-care, journaling, just stuff that I really, really care about. Another idea I had, wow, I'm just giving away free ideas right now. But another idea I had was a bot that connected you to random users, like for chatting and just meeting other people. And I thought that would be kind of fun. But yeah. In terms of keeping my confidence high, I think my confidence was never high, which was probably what kind of helped me in terms of like encouraging me to. Wow, there's a lot of people joining suddenly. Is Discord broken again? Anyway, as I was saying, I think in terms of keeping my confidence high, a lot of it was just the community trying to support me. It was I try to be super humble and I don't really have a ton of confidence and stuff, but I think the community is super helpful in trying to keep me motivated.
Thanks. Okay. I think we could do two last questions really quick. One's a fun one from Mafineek. Do you listen to music when you're coding? If so, I guess what are you using to listen to the music? Like Spotify, YouTube, Hydra, or other sources?
Funnily enough, yeah, I always listen to music when coding, and it's usually a Spotify playlist.
Cool.
What can I say? I only listen music for Hydra.
Love you.
Yes. We use that for all our events too.
I have this really bad habit where I listen to the same song over and over. If you stalk my presence, you would see that I just listen to the same song over and over. So usually just the same song over and over. It helps me focus.
I do generally listen to music or have a movie playing. Generally, it's something I know or don't really care about, so it's just playing. Always need a distraction in order to actually focus. It's a little backwards.
Cool. And then I guess, yeah, we'll squeeze in a few more. So from SpaceDoggo, where do you see yourself if your bot didn't exist? I guess that's sort of a hard existential question. But yeah, if you don't want to answer that one, we have one from Mac. I just have to give Mac a huge shout out for all of his work behind the scenes as our community manager and helping us prepare for these great events. Mac wants to know, what's your favorite bot? And you cannot say your own.
This is so difficult. Before I joined before I started actually coding and developing bots, I really enjoyed Dino. I really enjoyed Dino because of their custom commands. It's super customizable. I took a lot of inspiration from that when I was building Mimu's custom command feature based off of what I liked and stuff. Other than that, I really like Amari because the branding is super cute, and it is partnered with Mimu, so maybe that's cheating. But I really like Amari. It's super cute, and super simple and dedicated to leveling.
I had really liked Carl GG, Carl Bot. It was mostly their custom commands and the amount that you can actually accomplish with them. The complexity to them is something I was really unable to grasp in the beginning on how it could even be done.
Okay, and so to close out the panel, one last question. Do you have one piece of advice to share with someone who wants to be a bot developer? Or any part, yeah, last words for everyone
God,
who's
yes.
tuning in.
Yes. If you have like one idea, really focus on executing that really well. In the beginning, a lot of people did multifunctional bots and they kind of did things all over the place. And I see a lot of beginner developers do the same thing, but I don't think it works anymore because when people look at multifunctional bots, they mostly see a bot that does a lot of things barely good, if that makes sense.
I also think having less quality features is more valuable than just putting everything into one bot. And yeah. Also, don't be afraid to learn new things. Like you learn a lot of new technology, software you can use, and everything. Just go through it. Don't give up.
I would say to take a step back, most of your problems are not programming problems, are not actually related to Discord itself. When Googling, broaden your search terms to cover your entire language as a whole and not specifically Discord.
Great. Well, I guess, yeah, we're at time. Just wanted to say huge thank you to all of our panelists. I think just there's a ton of love for you in general, so make sure you go and check that out. Thank you for being so open and transparent and taking the time to join us and answer all these questions. I learned a ton, and I think this will be great because we're recording it, so your words of advice will live on for everyone who wasn't able to make it today. And thank you again to our community for asking such engaging questions and tuning in. We have a lot more fun events planned, so stay tuned. And a huge shout out to both Mac, one of our wonderful community managers, and also Iara for helping organize this event. So thanks again, everyone. Happy Friday and have a wonderful rest of the week and enjoy your weekends. We'll see you next time for a future event.
Thanks, Kristen.
Bye. Thank you.
Yay, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.